A few weeks ago, I was playing a video game called web fishing on my TV, following the drama between the web fishing fandom and the fandom of another game called Garn47 on my phone, watching a 21-minute and 30-second long video essay on my computer, and using my iPad when I came across some fan art by a creator called Meow Reeler who hadn't made the feet big enough. And it made me realize something. I hate my iPad. You see, because it's the only device where I haven't been locked out of my furfeet.ru account, it's constantly showing me web fishing foot inflation fan art that I don't want to see due to the feet not being inflated enough. So why do I keep using it? Well, I can't figure out how to log into my furfeet.ru account anywhere else because my password was all numbers and I'm terrible at remembering numbers. Like, so bad that if I'm walking down numbered streets, I can't even remember which one I just passed. And if I make a new account, well, there go my thousands of bookmarked pictures and artists. Not to mention my trusted commenter status. Basically, my iPad is like Drake when he, Well, I can't think of how it's like Drake. I was trying to do one of those gently amusing quips you see in these kinds of video essays, and I failed. But my point is, I lose hours and hours of time on my iPad, and it's starting to get embarrassing when people ask me what I was doing all day, and I say, looking for pictures of anthropomorphic cats with enormous feet. And they say, okay, what was the embarrassing part? And I have to admit that I wasted most of my time looking at pictures where the feet weren't big enough. And whether it's bringing my iPad with me every time I need a sink or toilet due to the lack of running water in my home, or the times I ran into someone when I was looking at it while driving drunk, I was starting to think that my iPad is actually having a negative effect on my life. And then it hit me, an idea for an experiment. Could I go an entire week with only a TV, phone, and desktop computer, but no iPad? Would that be a huge mistake or a great way to make a 21-minute, 30-second long video? Well, I'm going to find out. I'm putting my iPad in a suitcase with a combination lock. And I've hidden the combination in a time-release file that I can't open for a week. And what if I change my mind and want to use the simple 3-number combination to open the suitcase early? Well, it won't matter because I'm so bad at remembering numbers that I've already forgotten it. Now, obviously, these days an iPad is more than just a device to look at web fishing foot inflation fan art on a bigger screen than your phone and a smaller screen than your computer. It can also be used to read web fishing versus Garn47 fandom discourse. So to prepare myself for the week, I made sure to print out physical copies of as much discourse as I could, along with hundreds of my bookmarked furfeet.ru images. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, but what about mobile-first games that can't be played without a touchscreen? After all, I'm out of the house a lot because of my lack of running water, and I can't spend more than a few moments every day playing games on my phone right now because I'm using it to record everything I'm doing this week in order to fill 21 minutes and 30 seconds with video content. Because if the video is too short, it won't get boosted by the YouTube algorithm, and then I won't earn enough YouTube revenue to purchase web fishing foot inflation merchandise from Meow Reeler's store. So I also printed out a bunch of mobile game screenshots so I could get the feeling of gaming by poking at them with my fingers. Still, I wasn't sure I was ready to start the experiment. I needed to know more about what life was like back when people had iPhones and computers, but no iPads. And I also needed something besides my own footage if I wanted to make this video really long. So I decided to find some clips of what life was like back in the time between the release of the iPhone in 2007 and the iPad in 2010. For example, according to Wikipedia, one of the popular shows of that time was The Mentalist. And I couldn't help but notice how much times have changed when I downloaded clips of it to include in my own video. Yes, people still used phones and computers back then, but not once in the entire pilot episode did the mentalists use an iPad. No playing iPad games, no watching videos on an iPad, no pulling up an iPad to examine the details on foot inflation fan art after looking at it on your phone and you're not near your computer. And what struck me most of all was that if the mentalist had been away from his computer and had seen some mediocre foot inflation fan art, needed to leave a long critique in the comments, and had a low battery on his phone, he would just have to, I don't know, think of the critique in his head, possibly leaving no comment at all unless he remembered it when he got home. But I actually wasn't too worried about this happening to me. You see, without being able to log into my furfeet.ru account, I wasn't going to have any urge to even look at any foot inflation fan art, let alone leave comments on it. Unfortunately, just when I was about to finish showering, which is what I call wiping myself off with damp toilet paper in a public restroom, I was reminded that I had set up email alerts. And this one says that Meow Reeler has posted a new sketch under the web fishing extreme foot inflation tag. I gotta see this on my large desktop monitor. I ran home as fast as possible, which was still pretty slow because I kept forgetting what numbered street I'd just passed. I was really hoping that the feet in the picture were sufficiently large so I wouldn't end up saying what I usually do, which is, the feet are too small. That's it. Time to leave a long critical rant in the comments, which I can't do because I don't have my iPad. Not only that, the caption says, if anyone has thoughts on how to improve this picture, let me know now because I'm gonna color and finalize the art by the end of the week. Okay, think. All right, I could make a new account just to leave a comment. Wait, furfeet.ru instituted a month-long probationary period for commenting after it was raided by members of the toxic anthropomorphic animal hand inflation community. And the worst part is, these feet are so close to being big enough. That's it. I'm gonna try and smash open the suitcase with a hammer and ruin my chance at making a really long video about this. I promised my audience I would go a full week without an iPad. There has to be something I can do to get my angry criticism in front of a foot inflation fan artist without using it. Maybe it's time to look at more of other people's content that was recorded between 2007 and 2010 for research. Let's see, what other shows came out then? Aha! Here's one called Mad Men. Okay, time to learn more about how people lived in 2007. As I was watching Mad Men, one of the things that struck me about life in 2007 was, besides calling someone using a large landline phone with a rotary dial, the only way to contact anybody was by, writing a letter. I'll just handwrite my angry internet comment and mail it to the return address Meow Reeler used for the life-size foot sculpture I purchased from his merch store. 502 4th Street, zip code. Dear Meow Reeler, I'm writing to formally address a concern regarding an illustration you recently uploaded. While I appreciate the artistic ambition behind this image, I must bring to your attention a disproportionate element that significantly undermines the overall aesthetic brilliance of the drawing, namely the feet. In this particular artwork, the cat's feet appear highly undersized. This significantly diminishes the viewer's enjoyment of your art. When encountering an image on furfeet.ru, one would reasonably expect to see feet of adequate size to appeal to the site's target audience, not ones that are barely inflated beyond the volume of a standard felines. And while I fully acknowledge the creative liberties inherent in creating fandom content, you could have easily made the feet larger without much effort by simply including an anatomically correct number of toes, as you've drawn this cat with only... Okay, I was right. There aren't enough toes. There are only 1, 2, 3... I can't remember what comes after 3. Oh yeah, 5. No, wait. 5 toes is the right amount. Let me see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. In your next draft of this illustration, please make the toes more numerous and, of course, the feet considerably more inflated. And so I put my letter in an envelope and sent it out.
With that out of the way, I decided to try and learn if there was
anything else to look at besides web fishing foot inflation fan art. And it turns out that there are at least, what's that number? Oh yeah, 5 other things to look at. For example, number 1, nature. So apparently you can just look at things like plants and trees as much as you want, often free of charge. No, it won't give you the same thrill as seeing an anthropomorphic cat with massive human-like feet. But out in nature, there's a thing called non-anthropomorphic animals. And believe it or not, nature was so interesting that I actually forgot my print copies of video game screenshots, fan art, and fandom discourse. Number 2, photographs. Photographs are closer to fan art than they are to nature, as you can look at them on a computer. But since photographs are of things that already exist, the size of the feet on the animals you see is pretty limited. Number 3, books. These are basically just a collection of words like you might read on a fan fiction site. But apparently you can't just sell a book of fan fiction without changing the names of everything, so I had no idea what fandom these books were even written for. Still, a lot of them contained the word feet, so I was at least able to have a little fun with my imagination. Number, I want to say 2, but I already did 2. Oh yeah, 4.
magazines. These are like books, but they have as many pictures as they do words, which made it harder for me to use my imagination to pretend I was consuming web fishing fan content.
And finally, number 5, clouds. These are blobs in the sky that look exactly like meow reelers.
Web fishing foot inflation fan art. That reminds me, I should go home, turn on my computer, and look at pictures of anthropomorphic animals with massive feet.
But while walking back, I had the strangest thought. Was there something wrong with being so obsessed with foot inflation fan art that I couldn't just enjoy looking at a beautiful cloud? And that thought made me wonder. Rather than just an interesting experiment, was going so long without my iPad turning me into some kind of fandom anti who wants to ruin the fun of people who just want to enjoy pictures of
massive hairy feet?
Wait, are you looking at this cloud too?
No, just looking at some fan art on my iPad.
Wait, that's your iPad? It looks like mine.
Like your what?
Nothing. Never mind.
Oh, well, yeah, this fan art is just a preliminary sketch from my favorite web fishing fan artist, Meow Reeler.
Wait, you know Meow Reeler?
Yeah, but bad news. He just posted a members-only update right beneath this latest sketch saying he's experiencing burnout from being subject to long-winded critiques from his reply guy every time he posts anything. And if he sees even a single negative comment about this drawing, not only will he not finish it, he's going to quit drawing foot inflation fan art forever.
And does that thing about negative comments mean only online, or?
It says, and that includes handwritten mail.
Oh my god, I have to get to Meow Reeler's house before my letter does, or the only place I'll be able to see my favorite freaky foot fan art is in the clouds. Okay, now what was that address again? Who am I kidding? I'm not going to be able to remember it. Let me just check on my phone. Okay, it's... forgot again. And if I keep stopping my camera to check the directions, I'll never get enough footage to make this video really long. Guess I'll just have to get the directions the old-fashioned way, by printing them out
and carrying them with me while I walk.
Okay, let's see. Right on 6th Street, then go to the corner and turn left and... Whoa, there's another cloud that looks like an anthropomorphic. My directions! Better just go home and print those directions out again, but how am I gonna get home without the directions? Oh, I guess I could use my phone, but how many hours of precious footage am I gonna miss if I don't record my walk back? But if I don't intercept that letter, I may never see fan art that looks anything like that. Again.
Huh. I guess I was closer to home than I thought. Whew. There is no way I'll regret losing a mere minute of footage. Okay, time to print out those directions, intercept the letter, and go back to enjoying the most gorgeous inflated animal. Speaking of animals, what's this on my keyboard? Looks like animal hair. Weird. Okay, anyway, file, print, out of paper, but I have hundreds of sheets of, right, the screenshots. Well, it's over. I promised my audience a full week without an iPad, so all I can do now is hope that when I do get my iPad back later today, I'll find that Meow Reeler has changed his mind about quitting. And wait a minute. What's this email notification from Meow Reeler? Major update, members only. That's it. I gotta get my iPad. What happened to my iPad? There's nothing in here but some animal fur. Wait a minute.
Wait, that's your iPad? It looks like mine.
What's your what? That was my iPad. Well, sorry, thief, but I guess you've never heard of a little thing called Finder. And, yep, the thief is at 502 North 4th Street. Huh, that number sounds familiar. Okay, better write it down in my hand. Hopefully I can figure out how to get there on my own.
Okay, so I know the address is on 4th Street. I just need to pay attention to the order the numbers are going in. Hope I get there before the iPad thief moves locations. Okay, so if that was 3rd Street, then the next street should be 4th Street. Wait, maybe I wasn't paying attention at the last block and already passed 4th Street. Let me go back and see what street that was. So 2nd Street. So I'm going the wrong way. I just need to go to 3rd Street. Okay, there's 3rd Street, which means the next street will be... Oh, what number comes after 3? Is it 5? 5 is the correct number of toes on a cat. Unlike the toes in the fan art I didn't like, which only had 4. Of course, 3, 4, 5. So I just need to get to 3rd Street, and then this will be 4th Street. Here it is. Oh,
Give me back my iPad, you anthropomorphic cat.
Give it back. If you didn't want it stolen, why did you keep leaving comments that said sent from my iPad with your IP address? Anyway, if you get it back, you're just going to keep using your account to demand Meow Reeler draws unrealistically large feet.
I'm actually trying to stop Meow Reeler from seeing that kind of comment.
Really? That's why you're at 502 4th Street, aka his house? Well, guess what? I'm here to tell him to make the feet smaller. I mean, do you have any idea what kind of body image issues his non-canon compliant foot inflation fan art is giving me?
Body image issues? If your normal sized feet are giving you body image issues, what are you doing on furfeet.ru anyways? Ever hear of the dead dove?
Dead dove? Where? As a cat, I'd love to eat a dead dove.
No, in fandom, the dead dove refers to putting a sign on your fridge saying there's a dead dove in there, and if somebody opens it, looks at it, and gets grossed out, that's their fault.
But why would I be grossed out by a dead dove? I'm a cat. I love eating dead birds.
No, it's just a reference to the show Arrested Development. Come on, give me back my iPad and get out of here. If Meow Reeler hears you complaining, he's gonna quit drawing fan art forever.
Good.
I said, give me back my
Whoa. Oh, your hands sure are bigger than I expected.
Not exactly canon compliant, huh?
Oh my god. Look what's on the ground, and it's unopened.
What's unopened?
A delicious, freshly dead dove.
Yum. Let me just eat that real quick.
Okay, I did it. I got the letter back before Meow Reeler saw it, which means whatever that big notification was, it's not that he saw my critique and is gonna quit. Now time to look at my iPad and let down the audience that already sat through 18 minutes, 55 seconds of a video to see if I could make it a week without doing that. And that's when I realized something. Maybe having some free time where I'm not looking at enormous anthropomorphic animal feet on my iPad could actually be a good thing. I mean, there were so many activities I could enjoy once I cleaned myself up from the big fight with that giant anthropomorphic cat, which would be a lot easier to do if I had running water in my home. And so, with my newfound free time, I was able to hire a plumber to fix the water and pay him with the extra money I had saved up to buy the merch I always purchase to support every single fan artist I come across on furfeet.ru. And now, I can look at my iPad with clean hands because I made it a whole week. Now time to see what that big members only notification was from Meow Reeler. Dear followers, as you may know, I said I would quit making fan art if I received any more negative comments. However, something happened that made me reconsider. You see, my usual reply guy who asks me to make the feet bigger, that's me, left an unusual comment yesterday. But I didn't have my iPad yesterday, which means the comment was left by, oh no. So from now on, in the interest of promoting positive body image for anthropomorphic cats, I will be posting my art on giantforhands.de.
No. Wow, look at the size of those hands. Finally, some representation. Hooray!
Oh well, at least I made my video long enough. Nope, still haven't made it to 21:30. Really wish I'd recorded my 1-minute walk back home before. I guess I'll just have to add in some more gently amusing observations. So what did I learn from all this? I learned that while you can fill a lot of time in a video essay by showing footage of strangers while looping synthesizer arpeggios play in the background, sometimes to really stretch things out, you might need to include long clips from old TV shows, which is about as creative as Drake when he writes diss tracks. And at the end of the day, with the time you spent watching this entire video, you could have done something productive like, great, I made it a full 21:30. And if you don't think this video was a good use of your time, go to patreon.com/TonyZarrett and tell me what you'd rather see, and I'll make it.
I'd rather see smaller feet.
Ha ha ha, the end. Okay, go to patreon.com/TonyZarrett now.